Magandang araw po sa kanilang lahat. Ako po si Robbie Alampay, Puma Podcast, and you're joining us for another episode of Teka Teka. Election season na po, and to that point, dalawang batikan na political advisors ang kasama natin ngayon. Sikat na po itong mga to, kilala nyo to. Ronald Llamas, tsaka si Alan Herman. Iyan ang gusto kong pag-usapan kasi ngayon everybody's talking about sino mga politiko nag-file ulit, sino mga pamilya, maraming kamag-anak. Pero napansin natin ngayon, yung mga tinatawag na influencer, no? Content creators, YouTubers, definitely may following tong mga to. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers.
Millions.
Yan ang gusto kong tanungin sa inyo. You are both political analysts, you're both political advisors. Game changer ba to? The rise of influencers in politics?
Alam mo, ang game changer dito, ang problema dito sa ating mga tagapanood at tagapagkinig, na gagamit nila interchangeably yung phenomenon of social media at ine-equate nila yon sa influencing power. Iba po yon. Ang game changer sa halalan sa Pilipinas ay social media. Yan po, undeniable yan, napatunayan na yan ng datos. Social media is a game changer. It is what we call a sanitizer, no? Yung technical term dyan. Kailangan mo ng social media presence pag ikaw ay may balak tumakbo o nakaupo na, nakaluklok na sa pwesto. Pero iba yon sa influencers and likes, clicks, views, eyeballs, translating to votes. Malaki po ang pagkakaiba nun. Kasi unang-una, kukunin mo yung karamihan ng followers dyan. Number 1, sigurado ka ba botante yan? Number 2, sa election may 1:1 interchange. Halimbawa, binoboto mo isang party list lang or mayor or congressman. Malay mo, yung mga likers mo, nakalike din dun sa kalaban mo. So, kailangan mong tanggalin yan. Number 3, it is awareness to conversion. Alam ko, parang sirang plaka na ako, no? Parati ko itong sinasabi. Yung awareness, hindi parating nagtatranslate to conversion. And perhaps the astute and erudite Senator Ronald Llamas can elaborate more on that fact.
Well, I agree with Alan, no? Hindi dahil campaign manager ko siya, no? I agree with him na ang game changer ay yung technology, yung social media, yung milyon na yon. Not necessarily yung influencers. Influencers have been there since the invention of the radio. No, yung first wave ng influencers was radio and movies. No? Yan ang nagdedetermine ng lifestyle, yan ang nagdedetermine ng mga products. No? Yung second wave was television. No? Television. Diyan nag-scale up ang mga influencers. Kita mo naman, lahat pwede nang ibenta. Yan din yung diyan nagsimula yung modernity in terms of capitalism. No? At kasabay niyan yung technology ng television. At itong ikatlo, itong information revolution na kasama itong social media. No? Ito ay part and parcel ng information revolution. Nakadikit yung social media or ito yung later part. Pero kung titignan mo, Robbie at saka Alan, ito si Robbie, kwanto UP, ito naman si Alan, Arneo. No? Ito hindi namin pinag-aralan sa Dominican UST. Pero kung titignan mo, merong mga prophets nitong social media much earlier. Halimbawa, nung after World War II, 1946, lumabas yung dalawang libro ni George Orwell, 1984, at saka ni Aldous Huxley, yung Brave New World. No? Si George Orwell, ginamit niya yung karanasan sa Germany ng fascism para i-predict yung isang mundo, no, na ang ating mga values ay i-impose sa atin ng isang big brother, isang authoritarian, dictatorial system. Pero ako, mas malapit ako doon kay Aldous Huxley. Pero mo, 1946, pinredict niya a world with infinite distractions, a world with too many choices. Ito yung foundation nung nararanasan natin ngayon na social media. And 2 decades later, si Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message. Diba? Dinevelop niya yung foundation ng philosophy ni Aldous Huxley at ni George Orwell in a more advanced level, diba? Yun yung kinuha niya. The medium is the message. yung media ang pinaka-biggest influencer, especially at that time, television. No? And fast forward, ito, nabasa ko na nung college ako, noong 1981, si French philosopher Baudrillard, yung libro niya na napakanipis, Simulation and Simulacra. Nagulat ako dito sa libro na yun, no? Pag binabalikan ko, ito yung sinasabi niya na yung border between reality and representation of reality ay numinipis. Pero wala pang wala pang social media at least social media we know today. Pero yung karamihan ng nararanasan natin nandun sa libro niya na ipinalabas sa Matrix noong 99. No? Sumikat yung kanyang ideas doon sa The Matrix ni Keanu Reeves. No? Pero in a way, medyo siya trailblazer. No? Pag binabalikan ko yung libro niya, 40 years ago, pinedict niya itong nangyayari ngayon. No? Na itong Mobile Legend, na immersive games, di ba? Yan yung sinasabi niya na representation ng reality, virtual reality. Wala pa yung salitang virtual reality, binanggit na niya ni Baudrillard.
Simulation, in fact. Simulacra and simulation.
Ibig sabihin, may mga philosophical foundations, prophets, ang tawag ko sa kanila, about yung nararanasan natin ngayon long before na-invento yung technology. No? Kaya sinasabi ko lang, influencers are there, pero ngayon yung influencers ay naiiba because of social media. No?
And yun nga yung gusto kong tanungin. Kasi magkaiba yung dystopia ng isang centralized big brother, di ba? Na nagdidikta sa inyo on what to think, di ba? With double speak and all of that, di ba? Iba yung dystopia noon. Doon sa isang binanggit mo na dystopia, na a world of infinite distractions. And yung limitation ng isang gatekeeper, 'di ba? Parang nakita na natin 'yon, 'di ba? Nakita na natin 'yon. That's what doon tumungtong yung mga artista, even mga newscaster. Doon tumungtong, they were the gatekeepers, and yet nauntog sila sa realidad ng politika. Ngayon, iba yung teknolohiya. It's the infinite distractions. And these infinite distractions, let's call it the infinite number of influencers also, may kanya-kanya silang hatak. It's two different dystopias. Wala bang hatid na pagkakaiba yon na ang influencers therefore, baka may puwang sila na hindi sila mauuntog kung saan nauntog ang mga artista dati?
Well, ang kasi dyan, Robbie, is with infinite distractions and infinite influencer comes infinite choice. Limited lang yung position that they are wanting to fill. So it's finite positions given infinite number of entrants, di ba? So mas lalo nagkakagulo. Ang parati natin ginagamit na case study dyan, si Mocha Uson, who all she needed was 300,000 votes. May 5 million followers siya, and at least at that time, maybe 70% of it could be verified as true, no? Actual warm bodies. Hindi siya nakakuha ng 300,000 votes. 115,000 votes lang ang nakuha niya. So the simulacrum or the simulation did not translate into reality. Man, I love it that I'm able to speak freely like this now without being bashed or criticized by the viewers na ano ba yung Arnia na yan, na nagkukunwaring matalino, ano ba yan?
Yung taga-UST kasi inumpisahan ng mga kung sino-sinong mga philosopher at saka mga author
Mga akala nyo, yung mga nagtambay ng Pinobal, hindi nagbabasa no? Kaya katayo yung akala namin nila Lord de Vera at saka nila Christian Guerra, nagbabasa rin kami. Kaya sinasabi, Robbie, some are more successful than others. In a way, halimbawa, yung mga tulfo, no? Yung mga tulfo, in a way, influencers din sila Pero mas napaaga sila mas maaga sila. Parang sila transition from tri-media to social media. Nandun sila At ang kanilang strength, medyo napaaga sila na establish nila yung brand. Yung brand na nagamit as influencers. Kaya very compelling sila ngayon. Dahil they had the best of both worlds. The traditional tri-media and the new social media. No, nagamit nila both as influencers both as influencers. Kaya yun yung, some are more successful than others. Baka kinakailangan lang more circumspect at saka mas self-aware yung mga bagong influencers ngayon na hindi dahil, nagsimula sila, basically lifestyle diba? Product line Tapos ngayon pumapasok sila sa politika. Hindi automatic yung success dyan. Unless you are a tulpo na nagsimula ka sa Trimedia as an influencer, tapos nakapag-shift ka successfully sa social media. No? Hindi ganun karami yun Hindi ganun karami yung nakapag-shift na yan. Kaya
but I'll give you another I'll give another example. Ay nabanggit mo yung mga bagong influencers na tinatawag mo. Yung iba nga wasn't out for influence for the sake of influence per se. Some were really just for their business. I'll give the example of Diwata. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
So si Diwata ngayon, ang daming pero napansin ko fourth candidate lang siya sa isang party list. You tell me if I'm wrong, kayo yung political, but ang basa ko diyan, sino yung first at second candidate? Obviously, yan ang may pakanan yan, di ba? At mapalad sila, nakuha nila.
Usually, yung funder.
But obviously, nakuha nila si Diwata, malaking bagay yun. Siyempre, kahit fourth candidate ka, pwedeng ikaw pa rin ang ibandera sa mga posters, di ba? Hindi naman mapapansin ng mga tao. Secondly, it's a legitimate and very powerful.
Or mamatay yung second at saka third.
Pwede naman umatras din. Kailangan patay agad.
Hindi, diba? Pero ang point is, pangalawa doon, to your point, it's still politics at the end. But it's a legitimate, very powerful, constituency, vendors, di ba? MSMEs and so on. Now, if you couple that, what do you take out of somebody like Diwata na obviously ibabandera, siya ang headline. And a lot of people don't notice na fourth candidate lang siya. So this is now this phenomenon of influencers being applied to the old rules na sinasabi nyo na hindi mo pwedeng isantabi ang old rules. Politika pa rin to, pera pa rin to. It is still about the machinery that you have and ultimately the money behind all of this. Ngayon, ipinagsama ko best of both worlds. Are influencers gonna change the game at least in that regard?
Well, to be tested pa yan To be tested pa yan, Abi no? Ang nakikita kasi natin ngayon ay indications Indications pa, indicative pa ito Hindi pa ito talaga tested Kaya baka itong next election na ito ay talagang magiging test case. May tatakbo na influencer for the Senate, 2-3. May tatakbo for party list, no? Hindi lang si Diwata. May several pa na tatakbo at medyo marami sa local. Na tatakbo ng mga influencers. So, to be tested pa yan. Kaya baka maraming mga social scientists, maraming mga PR katulad ni Alan, no? Maraming mga nanggugulo katulad ko, ang mamatyaga ng maigi yung magiging role ng influencer. Paano, halimbawa, si Mark Gamboa, sabi niya, inspirasyon ko yung sa Europe yung influencer na naging miyembro ng European Parliament. Siyempre, iba yung apples and oranges yan, no? Pero, kumbaga, hindi lang siya dito, global yan Halimbawa ako, nagsimula ako maunawaan yan noong 2008, nung naging bahagi ako ng isang delegation para sa assessment nung election sa US. Doon ko unang narinig yung usapin ng big data. Doon ko unang narinig yung usapin ng data analytics, no? Wala pa yung Cambridge Analytica noon. Doon ko unang narinig yung profiling ng voters. Pero mo hindi 1 to 10, 1 to 100 pinoprofiling nila. Kinukuha nila yung data sa mga insurance agencies, churches, no, community organizations. Tapos kina-crunch ng kanilang app yung data na yan para makita yung ano ba yung gusto ng mga botante. Doon ko unang nakita Sabi ko, big data, no, data analytics. So crucial 'yon para sa mas effective na influencing, no, influencing. At ito rin yung first time ko nakita na ginamit for politics. Wineponize. At after niyan, diyan na nabuo yung mga Cambridge Analytica, etc. na talagang wineponize yung ganyang klase profiling, data analytics para mas maging targeted yung political intervention using social media and using influencers. At ngayon, tayo ngayon, nagsisimula dyan. No?
No, pero Alan, ito, I wanted to ask this because we were saying na ito, meron tayong mga bagay na matututunan from the last two elections, let's say. At nakita natin, meron mga influencers na hindi rin naman nanalo, di ba? You bring up the case of Mocha Uson. But a lot changes, especially in this day and age. A lot changes in 1 year. A lot changes in 2, definitely in 3 years. Is it like, for example, AI, ngayong taon lang nga natin pinag-uusapan ng AI, di ba? Ronald talks about analytics, talks about algorithms, talks about big data, and people were just starting to get a grasp of that over the last 6 years. Is it possible that this time, in these elections, or with every progressing elections, pahinog ng pahinog, di ba? I mean, the politics is always there, that's given, but is it possible that the influencer game, coupled with the technology, coupled with more sophistication on analytics or on the back end, makes them more ripe? Di ba? Hindi ba ang katotohanan yan? Oo, may limitasyon, pero mas hinog na rin ngayon yung produkto ng influencer.
Well, may maganda akong sagot dyan, no? It helps them consume their piece of pie more efficiently, in a better way, and in a faster way. But the split of the pie has not changed. And I don't know if it will change in the next 2 or 3 elections. Pag party list ang pinag-uusapan, 70% negotiated or machinery yan, 30% retail votes. Then pumapasok yung influencer. So, yes, indeed, things like social engineering, data analytics, the rising pervasiveness, lumabas yung TikTok. Dati wala pang TikTok sa election, ngayon, yan na yun, di ba? These are game changers in terms of securing that 30%. But the percentage of the pie hindi nagbabago. So yes, so halimbawa, ako tumakbo akong yung Diwata, party list. 210,000 votes out of that 300,000, kailangan manggaling pa rin sa organized vendors, sa mga grupo, warm bodies, communities. Then they're banking on Diwata's social media power to bring in the remaining 90,000 para makapasok sila ng team.
Sige. So, okay, Alan, Ronald, total elections is puro vested interest lang naman tong di ba? So let me ask something to both of you. Baka naman pagka sinabi mong 70% politics pa rin yan, 30% lang ang influencer game. Baka naman vested interest mo lang yan nagsasalita. Kayong dalawa ni Ronald. Diba? Ito, serious question. What do you say to people who come to you for advice? Diba? Potential clients, tawagin na natin. People who will say, I need your political savvy. I need to know how to run my elections. What do you say to somebody like you? And what do you say to somebody who tells you na, alam mo, limited lang ang budget ko instead of gastusin ko sa mga political advisors, instead of sa mga analytics, balita ko, magbayad na lang ako ng konting influencers, hindi lang isa. I-budget ko sa mga micro-influencers na tinatawag, mga nano-influencers. Hindi ba mas efficient yung gastos ng budget ko dyan?
Well, maghanap tayo ng something case studies, no? Halimbawa, inuulit ko kanina, yung mga tulpo, una silang lumahok sa party list, ACT-CIS. Diba? CIS, no? At nag-number 1 sila. First time nilang tumakbo. Kami, ang tagal-tagal na namin Hindi kami nagna-number 1, no? From the very start, ay kasama na kami sa party list. Pero yung ACT-CIS, first time nilang lumahok, no? Nadikit nila doon sa brand nila. Nag 2.5 million sila. Yung kanilang kailangan, 1 million lang. Yung 1.5 tapon. Nakakapanghinayang, no? Pero first time nilang lumahok.
Tsaka nag-suffer ang rest of the party lists dahil dyan. Dahil lumaki yung ninyo.
Oo, nahirapan yung iba, no? Tapos yung mga organized, katulad ng mga nung Makabayan Black, katulad ng Akbayan, Magdalo, Anak Mindanao, Avance Pilay, yung mga original, APEC, sila yung natalo or nahirapan. Sila yung na-wipe out. Yung sinasabi ni Alan na machinery, yung command boats, masyadong lumiit. At ang lumaki, yung negotiated at saka yung market, yung retail. Yun ang lumaki. Dating command. Dati kasi ang basis ng party list, command May konting retail at may mas malaking negotiated. pero yung bulk niyan is command. Yung command ang lumiit. Kaya yung mga dating nakabatay sa machinery, sila yung natalo o humina. Ang lumakas itong mga market, katulad ng AXIS tsaka yung One Rider. No? Ang hirap organisahin ng mga individualistic yan yung mga biker. Pero using social media, na-organize almost overnight at nag-number 1. No? Nag-number 1 sila Busita. No? Kaya yan yung halimbawa na paano yung influencers at saka yung social media, yung technology ay naggamit, no, para mag-dominate halimbawa sa party list. I'm not sure about sa Senate. Although si Doc Willie Ong na influencer din ay almost it. Mas mataas pa siya kay Mar at saka kay Jinggoy nung 2019, no, na first time siya lumahok. No, at ngayon nandoon siya sa bingit, nandoon siya sa dulo nung 12. Ibig sabihin may chance siya. Basically, basically influencer 'yan. So may mga ganong klaseng mga pwedeng sabihin na good examples or mga positive experiences tungkol diyan, no? Ngayon, hindi ko alam kung yan ay sa presidency ay pwede pa. Pero in a way, yung mga tipo ni Miriam Defensor Santiago, Erap Estrada, Digong, no, ay to some extent si BBM ay partly nagamit yung ganyang klaseng marriage ng social media at saka yung influencer strategy. No, influencer strategy. Hindi ko sinasabi influencer sila. Pero yung influencer strategy, yung disruptive, 'di ba? Emotional, no, almost overnight nagmarka ka. Yan ay nagagamit nila. Kaya tingin ko yung potential is very strong, no, diyan. Pero inuulit ko, kailangan nila ng circumspection at saka ng self-awareness na baka masyado mo namang seryosohin yung sarili mo, no? Kailangan i-calculate mo rin, no? Depende kung saan ka lalakan. Tingin ko sa local mas mahirap ang influencers Baka sa party list at saka sa Senate mas may potential. Pero sa local, talagang dominant siya ng machinery.
Machinery yan. 80-20. Well, the best way to distill and really summarize yung exceptional point ni Sen Edu is it cannot be all sizzle. There has to be a stake. Kasi yung mga influencer na purely eyeballs, purely balloon lang, sumikat dahil sa pagsasayaw, sa pagmamagic, sa whatever, with nothing behind it, that's all sizzle. There has to be a stake behind it. So in the case, the case brought up by Sen Edu earlier was mga tulfo. May sizzle sila, pero may stake. The tulfo plan, ipapatulfo kita. Justice for the Filipinos, defender ng naaapi. In the case of Willie Ong, there's sizzle, he's a sensation on social media, but there's also a stake. Matulungin, nagbibigay ng abiso, the healer, the physician, who cares? So, it cannot be all sizzle. You won't win.
Okay, final question na lang in this discussion. So, obviously, you can't ignore the age-old rules and realities of politics. Yun yung sinasabi natin. And to Ronald's point, and yun din original point mo, Alan, kahit pa milyon-milyon na yung followers mo, may maghunos dili ka rin at medyo magnilay-nilay ka rin because we have a lot of influencers who really did not make it past the starting gate, di ba? Parang we are littered with the dead bodies of political aspirations of not just influencers but even celebrities, di ba? It's an age-old story. Nagbabago lang yung ano. But what if the influencers not only win but actually prove to you and to everyone na hindi, nagbago na ang laro? And what if a lot of influencers from local to national, all the way to the Senate, prove that you can win on followers? What if they show that followers now convert at a higher percentage into actual voters? Ito yung tanong ko. What will that say about our voters? What will that say about our citizens? And therefore, what will that say about our democracy and electoral process?
Tingin ko in the balance sheet, that is a positive development. Dahil it moves away from the pre-modern and modern cynical politics natin. Na basically, ito ay patronage. Basically, ito ay rent-seeking. Basically, ito ay regulatory capture. No, yung mga ganun bang mga pre-modern elements ng ating political system, medyo lumalayo ka. Dahil itong mga influencers, at least not yet, for now, hindi sila nakatali dyan sa ganyang klaseng mga relationships. Cartels, hoarders, no? Carpetbaggers, no? Na either nagpopondo ng politika o sila mismo yung politicians, no? Sa ngayon, wala akong masyadong nakikitang mga influencers na nakatali dyan. At least wala pa. Kaya for now...
At hindi nila kaya.
Yes.
At hindi nila kaya. I mean, to your point, I was thinking, one thing you can say about influencers, they may have followers, pero walang pambili ng boto karamihan dyan.
Yes. So they can be a very positive, progressive contribution dito. No? Although hindi ko din overestimate yun. Pero for now, from my vantage point, I look at them more as positive than negative.
I have one question. Who are you? What have you done to Senator Ronald Llamas? Because clearly this is not Ronald Llamas talking. Huh? He suddenly become
optimist.
Optimist with rose-colored glasses, with hope for the Philippines, viewing it as positive change. I'm stunned actually. I want to go to his house and check if he's okay and give him some soup. Kasi usually the cup is half empty. Ako kasi cup half full guy eh. For me, I will dovetail Senator Ronald's point by saying it is a change, yes. He sees it as a positive change. I see it as jumping from one frying pan into another boiling cauldron, diba? Yes, it is a move away from patronage politics, away from dynastic politics, away from that mindset, and into a mindset of politics as pure, unadulterated, shallow entertainment. So pick your way of cooking. Do you want to be fried or do you want to be boiled? For me, that's what it says about the Filipino electorate.
I prefer the Junesian concept of politics, no? Entertainment and beauty, no? Postmodern ako, Robbie.
Because you thrive in it. Senator Ronald.
There's no tradition, no? There's only beauty.
I love it. He's now quoting the great philosophers, huh? This guy, there are dimensions to this guy.
Post-structuralist.
There are dimensions to him, I swear.
So dalawa ang bottom line dito. Politika pa rin. Hindi nyo pa rin matataob ang politika. It's still going to be part of the reality. And then the second is, as with the last elections, even when we say that last elections proved the limitations, with every elections, we still have to see. And we still have to learn. And, as the adage goes, whoever wins the first job of the losers is to learn from the winners. And kung manalo ang mga influencers at matalo man sila, marami tayong pupuluting leksyon at marami tayong kailangan pagnilay-nilayan. Hindi lang ang mga influencers, hindi lang mga artista na nag-move on. Anyway, so maraming salamat Ronald and Alan. And sa mga nanonood po, again, ito po ang Teka Teka. Kung gusto nyo po ang ating mga talakayan dito, like, subscribe, at sundan nyo rin po ang Puma Podcast. Ako po si Robbie Alampay. Maraming salamat po.